Welcome to week number 8, college football. White Right CFB's back at you. We're going to be coming at you with 3 panelists today until we see Jude. Jude's still on the mend, so if he wants to join us, he can. If not, we will bring the show along and we will pick how Jude would pick. That's all the winners. Jude only picks winners. So here we go. All right, who's ready for our first panelist? Our first panelist, actually, I'm your first panelist. I'm your host from the Hall of Mediocrity, or the Wing of Mediocrity from the Youth Football Hall of Shame. I'm the coach, Coach Cass. Our first panelist, he's the beast from the East. He's the assistant to the president of the Doug Flutie fan club. And he says, kids, eat your Flutie Flakes. Please welcome to the show, Lindsay Coyle.
Just happy to be here. Thanks for having me again. Well, one of these days you're going to realize I am the weak link, and you just probably.
Well, if you saw my picks last week, I think we would change that. Bring me down a pick. Look, I watch all the games. I should be able to pick better. You're over here just throwing darts at a dartboard with the lights off, and you are hitting like bullseyes, my friend. Well, I don't know how this happens, but it happens. All right. Well, we got another member of this panel. Another panelist. He's my favorite football player of all time. He's the pride of the Texas State Bobcats, coming to you via satellite. It's Hunter. Pat Paulson, I think you left your burrito here.
Is that what smells so funny? I was wondering what that was.
It's a super burrito.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of hungry right now, so I could definitely go for a burrito. All right. Well, Hunter disappeared. I guess, Lindsay, you and I can key. Oh, there he is. Oh,
he's back.
He's back. He's via satellite. He's actually recruiting for Texas State right now. He's on a recruiting trip.
Oh, nice.
Somewhere located in the American desert.
Well, I mean, right now, Austin's pretty much a desert. Have you seen the front yard? Well, there's one part of the yard that has no grass in it. It used to have grass. The neighbors.
There's no grass in the yard. It's all weeds.
Well, no, there's a little bit. Well, yeah, it's all dead now. It doesn't matter. Anyways, I digress. On to week number 8, college football. Is there anything big going on this week? I haven't noticed.
No, it's a quiet week. Okay. You know, maybe Florida State at Duke. You know.
Oh man, there is a Florida State fan that has gone to try to break the curse. He's gonna, if Florida State loses to Duke, he's gonna eat the dog shit instead of 3-2-1 no. So I'm kind of interested on this.
Oh, I know what the big game is. Wisconsin at Northwestern. That's
bingo.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Wisconsin. I'll tell you what, we got some big games, all right. And it's in our first segment of every show we do. That's the salute to the service academies. And without you, we wouldn't have what we have. So thank you to all the people that are serving, have served, or are going to serve. We say thank you, and we salute you by talking about the service academies. And we're going to let's talk about Jude's first. Let's take Jude's first. Now, Air Force, I don't know. I'm just like, I don't have my guy here. I got to have my guy to lean on. Jude is our guy. It just doesn't feel right without him. I know that, he's out right now. He's gonna be in the chat tonight. So Jude, you're talking Air Force right now, right? Air Force, Colorado State goes to Air Force. This has got to have some kind of rivalry to it. He's saying go Air Force. I have a personal opinion on this pick coming up, but what I'll say right now is Jude's gonna say Air Force. They're gonna soar high. They're gonna put 35 points on Colorado State. Colorado State's going to score 21. Air Force 35. Colorado State 21. There you go.
Say hi to Ken, who just popped in.
I thought at first he said he was pooping in. I was like,
oh
no.
Hey,
so what's up, Ken? What's up, Bocce?
So the Air Force Colorado State football rivalry is known as the Ram Falcon Trophy rivalry. And the trophy has been going since 1980. The first meeting between the two teams was November 30th, 1957, And I believe, let's see, Air Force leads all time 39-21, and the Trophy Series 28-15. They are currently on a 7-game win streak.
I would say I'm going to go ahead and say that's going to be an 8-game win streak. Jude's going to say. Jude's going to say. I'm answering for Jude. Jude's going to say 8-game win streak. All right. Lindsay, tell me about the Merchant Marine Academy, who I know a little bit more about today because I had to do some studies on the Coast Guard Academy's next opponent, Solve Regina, the Seahawks from Newport, Rhode Island. Look at me. Look at that big brain on cast. Lindsay, tell me about the Merchant Marine Academy and what they have going on this week.
Well, they bounced back nicely from their closely lost game to Solve Regina last week. And to no one's surprise, they handily beat the Pocket Protector nerds at MIT, and they shut them out 21-0. So that's their 4th win on the season. They are now 4-1. Next week, they're at home against Norwich, and I would expect them to pull out a win in this one as well. I don't think it'll be that high scoring, but I think they're going to be fairly close. I look for them to win by no more than a touchdown.
All right. Hunter, tell me about the let me get to it real quick here. The number 25 Navy midshipmen.
25 Navy midshipmen take on the Charlotte 49ers in Annapolis, Maryland this weekend. I've heard it's always a great place to go visit. Surprisingly, never went there when I was nearby. Had better things to do, like not be from the Naval Academy. Anyway, Navy's got a great offense. Their defense has not been really their strong suit this season. They get on some big plays here. I would expect Charlotte to hit some of those. However, I do like Navy to win. I won't put a score on it just because I don't really know how to evaluate this game, though Charlotte has done more in conference play than I gave them credit for. But I think Navy pulls this one out by at least a couple scores.
All right. We're going to go with the number 23 ranked Army, the Black Knights of the Hudson. They are hosting ECU, and that's East Carolina. Isn't it funny? Navy's hosting Charlotte, and Army's hosting ECU. A couple of, you never know what happens here. So
North Carolina schools.
Yeah, North Carolina schools. This game's going to happen on ESPN2, The Deuce, at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. Army's ranked number 23. Look, Army's like 7-0 for the first time since 1945. You know what I mean? I would say this. I would look for Army to be led by Bryson Daly and Kanye Udo. This is gonna be a lot of. They're gonna put up a lot of points or a lot of yards. I don't think they're gonna put up a lot of points because I think that the ball control offense is gonna they're just not gonna have enough time, right? They're just gonna run out of time.
Rushing yards.
Yeah. So I do have some bold predictions about this game. I would also look for them not to give up more than 10 points because ECU is not that great of a team, right? And although, I don't know, they're playing Service Academy. They're not. Army is a really good Service Academy along with Navy. I look for Army to be big, to do well this game. Army 35, ECU 10. The only reason Army scores 35 is ECU is not going to do a lot. They have a bunch of turnovers, and they are not going to have that many opportunities to score. But the opportunities they do have, they will. I'll say this. Army will have 350 yards on the ground, which is a lot of yards. There's a lot of ground yards, but look for big days by Kanye Udo and Bryson Daly. And that is our salute to the Service Academies.
Bocce, there are high school teams playing better than the Patriots right now.
All right.
All high school teams are playing better than the Patriots right now.
Hey, look, there's only two Patriots. I only know two Patriots fans. That's Lindsay and Bocce.
But I have to give them credit, though. I know we're not talking about pro football, but it's worth noting that Drake May set a really interesting NFL record in his game. That was no rookie in their debut game has ever passed for 3 touchdowns and rushed for more yards than the rest of the team, and he did both of those things. So I am actually pretty optimistic about him going forward.
There you go.
And you can hear more next time on Wide Left NFL.
Yes, that's the show after the show. If you know how to find wine.
And Drake May he's still topical because he was just playing college ball last year.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
All right, moving forward.
All right, 5-star versus 1-star. I'm gonna save mine for last because I have the most epic 5-star v 1-star, and Hunter's gonna laugh at me until he starts laughing at me again. So, Lindsay, give me your 5-star from last week.
It's still Texas. I am so high on UT right now. I love the way they're playing, even though they're not perfect. Man, they put on a good show, and they have a load of talent, and they have shown for good reason they continue to be ranked number 1.
All right, who's your 1-star? You're talking about ones. Who's your 1-star, Lindsay?
I'm a little disappointed in TCU, and I don't see them getting much better this coming week. I don't know that they're going to pull out a win either. And I think for all the promise they had going into the season, they have not panned out.
See, look, TCU is like your cousin that gets drunk before church. He shows up, he's hungover, he's like kind of puking in the in the aisles between the pews. You're like, God, man, you got so much promise, but you are really just shitting all over yourself right now. Please stop doing that. That's how I feel like when I watch TCU. Like, you could do so well, but you're not.
I know.
All right, Hunter, you gotta give me your 5-star versus your 1-star.
5-star performance, I'm going to give to BYU's defense. They generated 3 turnovers before that they scored 24 points off of last week against Arizona. Actually, they generated 4 turnovers, scored 31 points off of. They absolutely dominated Arizona in every phase of the game, especially on defense. Arizona's potent passing attack had no answer for BYU's defense. That across the board they play combat football. It's so hard to find who's the best player on BYU's defense because they're all so equally good, and it's very, very hard to throw the ball on them. My 1-star performance, however, I'm going to go with just what was one of the just worst performances by a team I think I've seen in a little while. I just had it pulled up because I want to read some of the numbers here. Well, it's not really just this game, but it's been all season. UTSA, I drag on you because you're a parking lot school, a night school that people who have, long-term jobs go to get an extra degree, a couple $1,000 raise every year. So unfortunately, I can't do more to you than what your situation's already done to you, but you have yet to beat an FBS team that is not transitioning from the FCS like Kennesaw State. So I don't know what to tell you other than maybe your coach can't win without Frank Harris, but that might be the case. So enjoy being a parking lot school, and when Texas State joins your conference and runs you over, don't act like I didn't tell you so.
Wow, look at Hunter.
But anyway, 1-star performance is the coaching job from Jeff Traylor, and also the fist fight after the game. That's just embarrassing.
Okay, I have a question. Did they lose the fist fight also?
You can't lose a fist fight to Rice, right? Maybe a football game or lacrosse, but a fist fight, you gotta win those.
I mean, you got beat up by the other pocket protector nerds. Hey, he's gonna be the head of a Fortune 500 company. He just kicked your ass.
Yeah, your boss just beat you up.
Oof. Well, I don't like that one. All right. With that said, we're going to move on to Jude's 5-star versus 1-star. He says 5-star LSU. They did win a game against Ole Miss. 5-star performance. His 1-star is Cal because they can't close out any ACC teams. Well, I can't disagree with him on that. But I'm going to hit y'all with my 5-star via 1-star. I really need Hunter here so I can do this. All right. My 5-star performer is Garrett Nussmeier. He threw for 337 yards and 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. My 1-star. Hold on. Let me finish. Can you give me a chance? Let me finish. My 1-star is Ole Miss's defense because they lost their quarterback who completed less than 40% of his passes. And 2 interceptions.
Oh.
All righty.
Oh
no, Spencer Reed, we have not made our Week 8 picks yet, but we're going to soon. And if you follow what we do, pick something else because don't rely on our picks.
Tell our picks, please.
Yeah.
You will lose money. Your friends won't respect you. Garrett Nussmeier played quarterback against Ole Miss like I play on NCAA 25.
Hey,
I mean,
look,
like,
I told you,
deep
I
shot,
told you
deep
I would
shot,
have the best
deep shot.
5-star versus 1-star.
Oh yeah,
I
that's
did.
perfect.
I mean, because you're like,
40%
hey,
passes.
wait. I just, sometimes you got to put the, you got to kind of like, And that is our 5-star versus 1-star, brought to you by Pantene Pro V. If you want the silky smooth hair, try Pantene Pro V.
I'm using it now.
I mean, it's just washing the gray away, Lindsay. What can I say?
Quick question.
Yeah, you don't want to see what I looked like before. I was a Q-tip.
Do bald people, when do they stop with face wash? Right?
When they hit their shoulder blades.
Face wash all around.
All right. On to the next one. That's our 5-star versus 1-star segment, brought to you by Pantene Pro V. All right. Our next segment is conference breakdowns. We got to talk about Jude's conference, the conference of conferences.
Well, Jude's sending some picks in, so I might give him some time to put them in.
All right. How about this? Let's start with Hunter first. Let's go with the Sun Belt Conference, Hunter. Let's start off with the Sun Belt Conference. Lindsay's like, what? Me not first? What's going on here?
I'm happy to.
I don't know.
Well,
it gives you time to make stuff up.
Now.
Hunter, I'm gonna say that I'm gonna take University of South Alabama over Troy. I'm gonna say they're gonna win 25-9. What's going on?
Wow. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what I would say too, because it already happened. South Alabama went out and dominated Troy pretty much in every phase of the game. It wasn't like the prettiest game to watch, but South Alabama was certainly the better team. Following on that, right now we have Georgia State and Marshall. It looked like it was going to be a Marshall runaway for a good chunk of the game, but Georgia State's pulled it up within 5 here. However, I'm still going to roll with the Thundering Herd as I picked them earlier between you and I. So I'm going to stick with them. Following off that, though, on Saturday, we have some pretty important Sun Belt matchups that can maybe define the Sun Belt West, because the Sun Belt does roll with divisions still. We have Louisiana taking on Coastal Carolina. And while Coastal Carolina's in the East Division, Louisiana has to continue to win in conference in order to protect its lead in the Western Division. I do like the Raging Cajuns here, though. I think that Coastal Carolina's shown some vulnerabilities, especially against James Madison. And I think Louisiana gets it done.
There's too much defense by the Raging Cajuns. Raging Cajuns are just, the
Raging Cajuns
really
have
tough.
one of, if not the most disciplined team in the Sun Belt. I think they are top 5 in the country in amount of penalties, as in they commit the 5th least amount of penalties. Yeah. They're very disciplined. They're a very good team, and they certainly Michael Desmarais has turned that team around from where I thought they were last year in an undisciplined team that was leaderless without Billy Napier to maybe to being back to being one of the best teams in the Sun Belt, which is good to see on one end, and unfortunately bad to see on the other end. Since
they might be better.
Texas State alum.
All right. Speaking of Texas State, they're the next game.
They travel to Norfolk, Virginia, to take on the Old Dominion Monarchs, and both teams are wearing some of the prettiest looking uniforms and helmets that I have seen in a long time. I mean, baby blue and white. Texas State's wearing a lighter gold. It's still gold, and a whiteout uniform style, and it's pretty nice. Texas State's favored by 10. I can't pick against my team unless they were playing a Power 5 opponent. Then maybe I could. But
no,
I'm gonna roll with the Cats. I mean, I picked Texas State against A&M one year, so it's not even talk about that. But yeah, I'm gonna roll with the Cats on this one. It's gonna be a tough game, but I do think that Texas State's offense is more potent and more active than Old Dominion has. As long as Texas State keeps themselves out of mistakes and is able to control the run game, they should be on a good path to winning this game by at least 7. Moving forward from there, I just had to pull up my iPad. I just lost it because I decided to close.
James Madison goes to Georgia Southern.
Well, there's going to be a lot of passing yards in this game because both teams like to throw the ball. However, James Madison is just a significantly better team. And while Georgia Southern does have an upset-minded coach who knows how to win close games, unlike the guy that took his job somewhere else, Clay Helton here. I'm going to roll with the Dukes. They're favored by 9.5. I like them by 14, but I do expect there to be well over 500 combined passing yards. points in this game. And finally,
Ooh,
we finish with a team who should be 1-5 in Arkansas State, taking on a team who is 1-5 in Southern Miss. And this is a toilet bowl level game. However, I will go with the Red Wolves to win by 1 point in a game that finishes 7-6.
7-6, and that's the Sun Belt Conference in Hunter. All right. Hey, do you want to talk about the SEC? Jude always says you can't spell.
I don't know how many
without
SEC games are even
SEC.
going to be available to talk about.
Fight on.
But let's get to it.
Well, let's get to it. I'm sure Vanderbilt's playing Miami of Ohio or somebody like that this week.
All right. Well, we got Auburn taking on Missouri in the Tiger Bowl. Missouri is ranked.
Hey, I'm gonna say the Tigers are gonna win this game.
That's a good pick. You know, that's a real good pick. I'm gonna go with the Tigers that wear orange. Missouri has shown that against teams that have a pulse, they aren't very good. So I'm going to go with the Tigers because if it's any week for Hugh Freeze to figure it out or for his quarterbacks to stop throwing just an unnecessary amount of interceptions, it's this one. I'm going to go with War Damn Eagle here to win the game. Obviously,
I think Vegas agrees with you on this one because the Tigers are only favored by 4. So I'm going to
go with Auburn by at least 7 here. I think they win by a full touchdown. There's going to be a lot of passing yards. However, I think Auburn's really good at controlling the run game. They've proven that this year that they can. Their defense can certainly keep them in games. Their offense just has to not give the ball away. And I think they'll take care of business here, and I think that they beat Auburn soundly. We have South Carolina traveling to –
This is the Spencer Rattler Bowl here.
The Spencer Rattler Bowl. I mean, you could call it that, I suppose. I was, as much as I would like South Carolina to win this game because I do like Shane Beamer, Lenore Sellers at this point makes far too many mistakes in clutch moments, fumbling the ball against Alabama a couple times, where if he had kept the ball, they either score on that drive or at least burn the clock down where Alabama can't take a go-ahead score. And he forced the ball downfield late in the game, and I just thought it was completely unnecessary. They had plenty of time left to get down the field and kick a field goal. Instead, he forced it for a touchdown, and it got picked off. And it was like, what are you doing? So, true freshman making true freshman mistakes, which is all right. But I do have a bold proclamation for this game that we'll get into. However, I pick Oklahoma to win this game by 14. I do think that they figured out. It's not going to be an offensive explosion by any means, but I'm going to go 28-14. Boomer Sooner, and I'm going to go wash my mouth out. So,
what about the Aggies versus the Mississippi State Bulldogs? The Dogs.
So, as much as both these teams claim they have totally different shades of maroon and white, they look the exact same to me. However,
how many interceptions do you think either team's going to throw because they thought, oh God, my own guy?
I don't think A&M throws any interceptions. I think Michael Van Buren will fumble the ball at least one time. However, I do believe that Michael Van Buren will himself run for 100 yards as the quarterback. A&M has struggled to stop the running quarterback this year. I think Michael Van Buren keeps that up. However, I will go with the Aggies to win. I will say Mississippi State covers the 18 points. I'm going to go with the Aggies by 10.
What about the big game happening in Vietnam?
How is it not one to watch? The Hog Tua game, I'm going to call it.
The Hog Tua game. Oh man! I wish I had saved this picture. We probably
we
couldn't
can't
show
put it on the. Yeah, we can't.
Man.
But
just look it up. Hog Tua. Just go to Twitter and look up Hog Tua.
HOGTUAH. Just go on Twitter and look it up, or X.com.
X. There you go.
This is a game that LSU is going to march into and think, man, we're going to dominate Arkansas. We just won this big game against Ole Miss. I'm going to go with the Piggies. I mean, they're going to this is a game that Arkansas wins because they're going to go and run the ball really effectively. They're not going to constantly try to force the ball downfield. They're going to let Taylon Green do his thing. And they're not going to leave a bunch of wide receivers wide open in the clutch moments in this game because Arkansas has not done that. They've been very disciplined this year in a lot of ways. I'm very shocked about. But I'm going to go with Arkansas here to win outright by 3 points in a game that's going to be a low-scoring affair, 17-14. Hogs.
All right. Let's talk about the best team in the SEC, the Vanderbilt Commodores. Are we on the train? Are we on the train?
I'm on the Vanderbilt train. When I found out that Jerry Kill was not only an assistant to the team, but perusing the sidelines next to Clark Lee, I knew that Vanderbilt's a team that you cannot sleep on anymore. I've been a big Jerry Kill guy for probably the last 5-6 years, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, he just sprinkles greatness on everything he touches.
You know,
He's
for a
the
guy's
football
face,
whisperer.
for a guy who's faced so much adversity, I'm glad that he has been, finding success in where he has. I'm going to go with Vanderbilt here to crush Ball State. This minus 26.5. It might just be 28-0. I don't think Ball State scores.
It's the second largest point spread of the weekend.
I don't think Ball
Oregon's
State
the only team that
scores
has
a touchdown. I'm going to go with Vanderbilt 28-3. Sorry,
this is 6 p.m.
31-3.
This could be a night game in Nashville. You can't rush the field, though, if you're Vanderbilt again, if you beat Ball State.
That's good for the Ball State players. They get to experience a very nice nightlife. I've heard that Nashville is almost as good as Austin. So they'll have a great time after the game. Unfortunately, they won't be able to sit down because their ass will probably be red from the belt to ass beating they're going to take from Vanderbilt. And then finally, we have Kentucky at Florida, which I think is a rivalry game. Billy Napier has not beaten Kentucky yet as Florida's head coach. That doesn't change. Wildcats all the way. By the way, 7 years ago, Florida was on a 33-game win streak against Kentucky. Mark Stokes, for all that he's done, not done, has taken the fight to Florida for Kentucky fans. I'm going to go with the Wildcats on this one. They're favored by 1.5 points. I'm going to go with 3 points. It's not going to be a very exciting game. I don't think DJ Lagway is a needle mover. I think they are actually better at Graham Mertz. DJ Lagway is going to be a great player in the future. However, he's a true freshman, makes true freshman mistakes, and you can't do that against a defense as greedy and opportunistic as one coached by a Stoops brother. I'm going to go with the Wildcats by 3 points in a 20-17 game.
All righty, that's Hunter, and that's the SEC and the Sun Belt. Hunter breaks it down like no one else does. All right, Mr. Coyle.
Yes.
Are you ready to talk about the American Conference?
Let's talk about the American College Football Conference.
Well, we have the first game, which we've already talked about, the East Carolina Pirates at the number 23. Let that ring. Let that ring. Hear that ring. 23. Army, the Black Knights of the Hudson. I'm not shying away from Army on this one. I think Army wins big. Jude thinks Army's going to win big. What does Lindsay think?
Everybody should think Army's going to win big. They're clicking on all cylinders right now, and they're fun to watch. This game will be fairly easy for them, and they'll win by, they'll beat that spread, which is 16. So they'll beat that handily, and I'll take the over.
All right. We got Tulsa at Temple. This is the T-Bowl, and T should stand for terrible because both these teams are terrible. Lindsay.
Yeah, it's not going to be one you want to watch to see great quality football. But if you want to see a lot of back and forth, a bunch of lead changes, maybe a high-scoring game, this might be interesting to you if that's what you're in it for. But ultimately, it's going to be close. Temple might squeak out the win. They're favored by 3 going in. I'll say they'll cover that win by a touchdown, and I'll take the under, though, which is 53.5.
All right. The 49ers are in town to play Navy. The Charlotte 49ers. Navy's going to win this one by the state of California. What do you think?
Yeah, they will. And they're another service academy that's fun to watch because they've got it all going on right now. And being ranked 25th means that they've got some clout against the unranked teams. This week is going to be no exception for them. They're going to win by 21, and they'll cover, and they'll beat the over-under.
All right, in the Battle of the Bads, you got the Dragons from UAB versus the Bulls from South Florida, the B-Bowl, the Battle of the Bads. Here we go. The American Conference, unless he's not enthusing any confidence in me here.
Well, these guys aren't going to be the two greatest teams you're going to watch play. And I think that if you want to give a game a pass this weekend, pass on this one and choose some others to watch. It won't be that exciting. Ultimately, South Florida should win by a couple of touchdowns.
All right. The Battle of some more bads, as Hunter would say. Florida Atlantic travels to San Antonio to take on the Roadrunners from UTSA. Does UTSA put the Owls to bed? Who?
I don't know. I'm kind of up in the air on this one. UTSA's favored going in, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Florida Atlantic take the upset. It's kind of a race to the bottom for these two teams. I don't know it's going to be that exciting. It certainly won't be very well played, but I'll choose Florida for the upset.
All righty. Speaking of the Rice Owls, I heard they won a football game and a fist fight afterwards. They're taking on Tulane in New Orleans. Now, Tulane's no joke. You can't sleep on them, and you damn sure don't want to fist fight them in the parking lot.
No, you don't. And they're going to have their way with Rice, I think. This one won't be very close. Tulane just has way more talent and better execution than Rice does. Rice has been struggling this season, and this game is going to expose a lot more of their flaws than we've seen so far. And they're going to be on the losing end big time on this one. Look for Tulane to win. I don't know they're going to cover that spread was 22. I'll look for them to win by 2 touchdowns.
All right. Now, so Memphis in North Texas, this is one of our ones to watch. How that made it in there, I have no idea, right? But it just made it in there. It was in the randomizer of ones to watch this week. You know, I was sitting there like with my sleepy eyes. I was like holding them open going, oh, yeah, that's good. North Texas at Memphis. Who the hell puts out the one? This guy does. All right? This guy does. All right.
You've seen it here on Wide Right CFB.
Yeah. Brought to you by Busch Bavarian. If you're going to drink Busch Bavarian. All right. Let's go from the AAC to the ACC. And we're going to talk about those Screaming Eagles from Boston. Boston College, the Fighting Doug Fluties are down right now to the Hokies of Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech is starting to get to that. You know, they're pulling the belt. It's clearing the loops. We're getting close to that belt-to-ass territory.
No, we're not.
Your team.
BC
Are they coming back?
It's closed the gap to 7 points, and they have the ball entering the fourth.
Look, I didn't even have the game on. I had Marshall on.
Virginia Tech choke job incoming.
Oh, man, they're going to lose like they lost to Miami. Okay, Lindsay, give me just a down and dirty quick pick on this one. Since this is an in-progress game, we can't really make it an official pick. We just give you you can homer on this one. BC win by a point. They're going to come back. I think
it'll be close, but I think BC can edge them out on this one. Yeah.
All right. That's what I like to
hear. For a late
comeback. Point joke. Oh, generational stuff.
Oh, man.
Virginia Tech.
I hate to bring this one up. This is tomorrow night on the 18th. We're going to call this the Dog Shit Bowl 2. So a Florida State fan has said that if Duke beats Florida State, he'll eat the dog shit to break the curse. Now, do you believe that or not? Put it in the comments. If you're watching this, do you think that
you are on notice?
Hey, for some reason I want Florida State to win because I already saw a guy had to stick a BP 5 burrito up his ass when his team lost. So
terrible.
So we got to have somebody win the Dog Shit Bowl here. Dog Shit Bowl 2. Lindsay, I actually think Duke's going to win this game because Florida State just can't do anything.
I don't know that I can't go that far because this game is going to be close. And I think that while both teams are certainly playing with chips on their shoulders, for lack of a better word, talking about dog shit, I can't count Florida State out because I think that they have the potential to pull the upset on this one. And I'm not so sure that it's going to take it down to the wire either. Florida State might just pull away in the fourth quarter and keep it there.
I do have a stat for you. Since joining the ACC, Florida State has never lost to Duke. They're 20-0 against Duke. So just something to think about.
Yeah.
Ooh, a lot of stakes on the line tonight. All right. We got Miami and Louisville is in the ones to watch. Virginia at Clemson somehow is in the ones to watch. Don't look at me. I'm not the one I am the one that picked it. All right. Wake Forest at UConn.
This is one of those games which will not be well played, but is going to be exciting because it'll be close. We'll see a lot of lead changes. We'll probably see a lot of penalties too. So I think there's going to be a high level of frustration, but honestly, that adds to the excitement, especially if you watch this game without a rooting interest in either team. UConn is favored to win this one, but only by a couple of points. I'm going to give this one a toss-up and say, really, it's anyone's game. But I would ultimately think that UConn could do it. They're going to cover the spread and maybe win by a touchdown.
All right. Notre Dame and Georgia Tech is also in the ones to watch. NC State at Cal. Jude, Cal's out there. I think they can win this game. I think Lindsay's going to agree with me on this one.
Yeah, I will.
I think Cal wins this one by more than the 10 points. Lindsay, do you think that Cal wins by more than the 10 points?
That's not out of the realm of possibilities. I absolutely think that that's possible. I would say that that's true. They have a better defense, and the passing game's not going to be half bad coming into this week. So look for them to put the points on the board.
All right. In the nightcap, SMU, the dark horse, the ponies. Yeah, we referenced the horse there. The ponies, who could be the dark horse for the ACC Conference Championship, travel across America to Stanford to play those other smart kids at 7 p.m. from Stanford Stadium. SMU's favored by 16.5. I think SMU not only covers, they take the over. Lindsay, what are you thinking on this game?
Well, I don't think Stanford's smart enough to realize that they're going to lose this game going in, and it's going to be SMU all the way. They will cover this spread and then some. I'd look for them to win by 3 touchdowns. I'll take the over of the 53.5.
All righty. That is Lindsay Coyle. That is his lead pipe lock on the ACC and the American Athletic Conference. Now let's head over to the Mountain West, and we're going to pull up Mr. One Cool Jude Santa Cruz. And we're going to see Cool Jude's 2 cool takes on the Mountain West, the Big Ten, and the Pac-2. Let's see what Jude's got here in his comments. He says, we are 5 on 9 people watching. Jude, we had up to 11. Now we're down to 3. I don't know what that means. Not good. All right, we're going to move to the Mountain West. Mountain West and Jude Santa Cruz. All right, Fresno State at Nevada. Jude's got Nevada beating Fresno State. I can't disagree with Jude on this one. I think Nevada takes home the W. He's got Washington State over Hawaii. That'd be a safe pick. Now, Hawaii's not really favored, or Washington State's not really favored by as much as I thought they would get. But the game's also at like 2:30 in the afternoon. I think it was later in the evening. I think maybe we'd get a bigger score.
And
but
Washington State
I'll
is
agree
wearing
with
some nice uniforms.
Oh man, they are sweet. They're the Sailor Cougar. That doesn't roll off the tongue well, but it's neat looking. Go look up Washington State's uniform for this weekend. I am a fan of retro looking uniforms. All right, and then at 3 p.m. on True TV, New Mexico is at Utah. From Maverick Stadium in Logan, Utah State. Jude's got Utah State over New Mexico. For Jude's picks, Jude's going to pick Utah State. I would pick New Mexico, but Jude's going to pick Utah State. So we're going to go with Jude's pick here. All right. And then at 3 p.m. with no TV coverage. This kills me. I hate it when we live in a world where the Merchant Marine Academy and the Coast Guard Academy can play on Flow Sports, but we can't get anything for Wyoming at San Jose State. Jude has, I don't know where his pick is here. He's got San Jose State crushing Wyoming, even though Wyoming did get a win last week against the Air Force Academy.
Who doesn't?
Hey, you know what I mean? But Jude's picking them. All right. And then the nightcap here at 9 p.m. on the CW network from Reser Stadium in Corvallis, Oregon. Jude's saying Oregon State barely over UNLV. Now, I'm going to say this. I had to disagree with Jude, but Jude's not here to defend himself one-on-one versus me. Hunter thinks it's going to be a shootout. I don't think it's going to be a
that's
shootout.
for the Rebs. That's for the Rebs.
Yeah, I think UNLV is going to control. Oregon State did not play well against a running team last week. They didn't play well against Nevada. And guess what? The other team from Nevada is showing up, and they run the ball really well. So Jude's going to say Oregon State barely. I would lean UNLV a little bit. But Jude, these are Jude's picks. I am not Jude. Jude has picked Oregon State over UNLV. But that's what makes this great. Jude is a much better picker this year than I am. He's done far better than I, so don't listen to anything I say. All right, that's the Mountain West Conference. And we're going to move on to Jude's other conference, the Big Ten. Who are we kidding? He's a Pac-12 guy. He's like, bring back the Pac-12. Jude has a shirt that says, make the Pac-12 again.
Make the Pac-12 again.
Yeah, make the Pac-12 again. All right, Oregon at Purdue. This is the largest spread of the weekend, but Oregon has this, Purdue's got this real great stat with Oregon. They beat them like all these many times. They're playing this thing in West Lafayette, Indiana, which is the home of the Purdue Boilermakers. Jude's got Oregon over Purdue by a country mile garage, is what he's saying right now. Then that's tomorrow night. So if you got nothing to do at 7 p.m. on Fox, go click on over and watch that. I'd have to agree with Jude. I don't know that this is a lot of points to cover, though. We'll just have to see what happens. I would say Oregon wins. I don't know if they cover, but they're going to win. They could blow Purdue out of the water. They may not, though. Nebraska and Indiana is in our ones to watch. If you're a fan of Indiana, just let it ring for a second. Number 16, Indiana. Hear it ring. Number 16, Indiana.
Hoosier Truther.
Yep. All right. Jude's also saying Indiana over Nebraska, but barely. We'll have to see. Jude's got Wisconsin over Northwestern. And if you don't know Jude, Jude has a few teams that he cheers for. Anything Pac-12, anything that used to be in the Pac-12. Oh, hold on a second. I guess
Except for UCLA. Except for UCLA.
For UCLA. He calls them FUCLA. No, he cheers for USC. Then he cheers for the Pac-12. Then he cheers for the Lane Train. But he also, somewhere between the Pac-12 and Lane Train, he cheers for Wisconsin. So you got to know this going into it. Wisconsin's look good on the road. They don't have the wins to show for it, but they did look good on the road. So I'll agree with Jude. Wisconsin over the smart kids from Chicago by more than 8. Now, Jude's got Rutgers over UCLA, and Jude's saying by a lot. It's going to be a lot. I'm just saying. Michigan over Illinois, or Michigan and Illinois in our ones to watch. USC, you know he's taking USC. Don't ever think that he's not ever going to take USC. Fight on. Here, Jude, I'm doing it for you. Fight on. Right there. Look, USC is going to win by so much in Maryland that the coach of Maryland is going to resign from coaching football. Actually, they're going to ask him not to come back.
Don't forget his Michigan State pick here against Iowa.
I'm not. I'm getting there. But you gotta talk about fight on here. Fight on. Right? All right. Iowa at Michigan State. I think I know where Jude's leaning on this one. I'm sitting here. I'm thinking here. He's thinking Spartans, Trojan Spartans, Michigan State by Jude's saying 65-0 Michigan State over Iowa. And that's Jude's Big Ten pick. He's not here. I can say whatever I want.
Both those teams aren't going to score 65 points combined
in a season. I'm kidding. I can kid. Jude's not here. I'm allowed to. He's giving the fight on symbols. He's happy. 66-0 is what Jude picked. 66-0. What Jude's saying is take Michigan State in the over. The over-under on this thing is 39.5 points. Iowa's favored by 5.5 points.
God,
I not seen Michigan. Has Vegas not seen Michigan State play this year? They're going to move the ball on Iowa a lot.
Nick Marsh is one of the best wide receivers in the country. In fact, that's something to talk about. Is the true freshman wide receivers this year have been just impressive. Ryan Williams, Jeremiah Smith, Nick Marsh there for Michigan State. That's why I was segueing into it. Bryant Wesco for Clemson. Ryan Wingo for Texas. Just to name a few. I'm sure there's been even more. Cam Coleman for Auburn. Just the amount of true freshman wide receivers that have just put up insane numbers and played an insane amount of high-quality football has just been impressive this year.
I like Jude's pick. That's a solid pick. Michigan State over Iowa. He's going to make some money on that pick. I'm telling you. Jude doesn't miss picks. He's good at picking the games. And that's Jude. And that's the Big Ten Conference. Now, I don't know if there's any Pac-2 games that we didn't cover here. But we'll hop in there real quick. Jude gets 3 conferences. Did we get both of them? The Pac-12
Washington State and Oregon State, yeah.
Okay. We got both of them. I'm gonna tell you, he's gonna pick Washington State over Hawaii. I can promise you that.
He already
no worries. Did he already pick it? Did I miss it? I'm off my game a little bit. Hey, cut me some slack here. We had 11 people in the show at one point. Can you believe that? That's more than anybody's watched ever. How many
are still watching?
There are 4 right now, but the 4 that are here. No, we're up to 6. The 6 that are here, we thank you. Valued members. Jude's probably got 10 screens going right now. He's got everybody around him watching. Jude, you are the man. We need you back soon. All right, we're heading over to my conference, the Conference of Champions, Conference USA. And I got a great one about Conference USA. They've already played all their games. They only more games to play this week.
We'll talk about them at least.
Kennesaw State went down to Middle Tennessee State, 14-5, and just an absolute barn burner. Louisiana Tech travels across America, loses to New Mexico State at like 4 a.m. in double overtime.
On a Tuesday.
New Mexico State, good for you. New Mexico, you know what I hate to say? I watched that game. I'm not going to lie. I watched almost every minute of it. Good for you, New Mexico State. Last night, Western Kentucky pulled the belt from the loops and put belt to ass against Sam Houston State. They make Sam Houston State look like they didn't know what they were doing. It was bad. And then in the nightcap, can we give a round of applause to the Miners from UTEP getting win number 1 on the season against FIU, and it looked good. They looked like a good team. Let's get a round of applause. I hear it tuning up. Congratulations,
Picks up,
the
UTEP.
Miners. Oh man, they won a game. And they looked good doing it. Now, Florida International traveled across America to play in El Paso, Texas. You know how many people I know from El Paso, Texas, Hunter?
This many.
Exactly. This many. All righty. Oh, what? We got a comment from Bocce. I got to read this before we go any further. 11 people is more than who watches in 11 weeks. It's usually just me. And Bocce is correct. We have an OnlyFans account, and Bocce is our only fan. And that's the Conference of Champions, and that's only because they have to have a championship game. Conference USA. We're going to move on over to the other conference, the Big 12. And tomorrow night, Friday night at 9:15 p.m. on ESPN. 9:15. All right, you got to think about this here. 9:15. Just keep that number in the back of your head. Oklahoma State travels to number 13 BYU. Kalani Sitake's like about $1.1 billion at night in Provo. He's almost unbeatable. And he's taking on a team that is not good. Oklahoma State's going to lose this game tomorrow night to BYU. BYU's defense ain't going to give up no yards. They got another quarterback starting. Alan Bowman, I think, finally retired from college football this week. He's retiring from college football, like right now. Utah. Here we go again. Oklahoma State. BYU
So
over
good.
Oklahoma State. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just discombobulated here. I'm going to say BYU by 14 over Oklahoma State. Take the under, though. Take the under. Oklahoma State's not going to score enough points that can make this thing competitive. BYU's offense isn't explosive enough. The defense will get a score. Special teams are going to score. The offense will put
Over
up
under on turnovers. How about that?
5. I'm
That's
saying 5.
How many by Oak State?
3 by Oak State, 2 by BYU. Parker Retzloff, as good as he's played, he is a little free with the ball at times, especially when he's running the ball. He needs to stop running. He needs to stop running with one hand on the ball. We do watch a lot of BYU, so we're not Mormon or anything. We just it's an interesting team to watch.
Night and they're one of the better teams right now. So eyeballs kind of gravitate towards.
So we're gonna go to the next game on Saturday, the 11 a.m. game from Nippert Stadium in Cincinnati, Ohio. The fighting Cam Scadaboos of Arizona State versus the Cincinnati Bearcats. Cincinnati played really well last week, and Arizona State always finds a way just to beat their opponent just by enough. So I'm gonna take the Bearcats on this one, though. I think they're gonna shut down Scadaboo. It's gonna be too early in the morning. They're gonna have too much Skyline chili in them. I'm gonna go Bearcats. All right, at the 2:30 game from the soccer state. No, it's Arrowhead Stadium. Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri. The Jayhawks host the Houston Cougars. Somebody has to win this game. I can't pick Kansas. I picked them all year. They're 1-5 because of me. Cougars win 13-3. 13-3. You heard it here second. All righty. Colorado and Arizona made our ones to watch somehow. I'm going to tell you about another game. This is going to be a fun game to watch. Baylor at Texas Tech. Texas Tech should be ranked over certain teams that are in the top 25. Absolutely. Texas Tech does have a bad loss against Washington State in Wazoo, man. And they didn't look great against Abilene Christian. They gave up a lot of points. It was a really close game. Texas Tech's favored by 6.5. I would say take the over on the game. Texas Tech and Baylor are going to put up way more points than that. Baylor's defense is going to find a way to give up a ton of passing yards against Texas Tech, but somehow stay in the game. Baylor over. I'm going to take Tech over Baylor. Take the over. Tech's going to win by 3 points, though. Definitely not going to cover the spread. We're going to get to UCF and Iowa State. I got this in one of my games, one of my games in the 2-minute warning. I'm going to say Iowa State wins by a lot. This game's at 6:30 p.m. from Jack Trice Stadium in Ames, Iowa. Iowa State's really hard to beat at night. Ames, Iowa, is at Jack Trice Stadium's a really hard place to play at night. Very loud, very raucous crowd. It's going to be a tough game. Number 17, Kansas State travels to Morgantown, West Virginia. Another place that is really hard to play at night. This one's going to be on Fox at 6:30 p.m. Kansas State's only favored by 2.5. They had a tough game against Colorado last week, but I think they have figured some things out. They've kind of found their identity as a team. I would look for Kansas State to win by something closer to 7. We'll go with that one. And then a nightcap in Lindsay's Battle of the Bads, TCU at Utah from Rice-Eccles Stadium. Zach Wilson's little brother will get a win against the TCU team that will somehow find a way to lose the game. And that is Cass, and that is the Big 12. It's the Big 12. All right. You guys ready to talk about the ones to watch?
Sure.
All right. Lindsay, don't sound so enthusiastic. You're like, this is kind of how it felt right here. All right, Lindsay. We're going to start a number 10 game. UNLV at Oregon State.
Mm-hmm.
You going to take the UNLV Rebels?
I think you'd be silly not to. They've been playing well enough that Oregon State, although they'll keep it fairly close early on, by the second half, UNLV will take a handy lead, and they're going to cover that 6.5 point spread.
All right, Hunter, what do you got on this one?
I'm going to go – talking about UNLV?
Yes.
Did I just hear that right?
Yes.
I'm going to go with the running Rebs here. I think Oregon State has done a decent job this season of stopping the run. But against Nevada, they looked completely out of place, especially when the quarterback could run the ball. I think it's going to be more of the same, and then they're going to go load the box and stop the run, and Ricky White's going to torch them deep because Oregon State's pass defense has not looked good this year. Against Oregon, they looked completely out of place and completely out of position. I think it continues this week. UNLV beats the Beavers. I'm going to go with UNLV 49 to 42 running Rebs.
All right. Now, I'm going to take the UNLV because their quarterback has one of the greatest names of all time, Hajj Malik. What's his last name?
Williams, right?
Williams, I think. Yeah. Anyways, he's going to do well. They're saying Matt Saluka. Who?
Yeah.
I'm going to go
Matt
with UNLV.
Saluka.
Cool. Jude Santa Cruz is going to go with Oregon State in a barn burner. He's picking the opposite score or the opposite winner of Hunter's score, but he's saying same thing. Barn burner. Boom. Big game. All right. The number 9 game of the week. I don't know how this got in here. North Texas at Memphis. All right. The last time we brought North Texas into the ones to watch, Texas Tech pulled their belt off and put belt to ass against North Texas. I mean, they beat them like they stole something. Lindsay, does Memphis beat North Texas like they stole something?
I don't know if it's be that bad, but yeah, they're going to beat them, and they're going to take control of this game fairly early and keep it. Look for them to score early and often, winning by at least 2 touchdowns. I'm going to take the over on this one, which is already fairly high at 67.5, but I think there's going to be plenty of offense, and Memphis will walk away with it at the end.
All right, Hunter, North Texas at Memphis.
I think when you look at this game, it's really a breakdown of styles here for styles make matchups type situation. You look at how Navy was able to beat Memphis. A lot of it was applying pressure to the quarterback, and then on offense, utilizing the running back out of the backfield as a receiver. North Texas's offense is not necessarily built the same way. It's a very very true air raid system. The running back does not see a lot of passes out of the backfield. He's mostly used as a blocker. They do utilize the wide splits, but as good as North Texas offense has been this year, I don't think it shows up in a big way. I think Memphis' defense plays some lockdown B, especially if North Texas continues their similar attack of utilizing slot receivers. Memphis has a great slot corner who will probably get drafted in the NFL this year or next. So I think that they're going to lock that up. I'm going to go with the Tigers by at least 10 points.
All right, Jude is saying Memphis, BTA, and we all know what that means, belt to ass. All right, I'm going to say a shootout's going to occur, but Seth Hennigan is going to live up to the Heisman hype from earlier this season. He's not going to be eligible for the Heisman, but he's going to live up to the Heisman hype. Seth Hennigan throws for a ton of yards. I'm going to say 350 yards in this game. Memphis is going to score around 50 points, and I would say that Memphis wins by probably 14. And that is our number 9 game of the week. Our number 8 game of the week. The Colorado Buffaloes travel to the desert to take on Arizona, the Wildcats, and Tetero McMillan. This game right here has got the 2 best NFL wide receiver draft prospects out there. I would say Tetero McMillan and Travis Hunter, by hands down, the 2 best. They've shown they're the 2 best. Shedeur Sanders he's gonna be there. He's potentially the number 1 quarterback taken in an NFL draft. We've got I can't say the other guy's name. I can't think of it. Noah Fafita. There we go. I got it. I was thinking of somebody. I was thinking of the old quarterback at Arizona. Hunter's watching this game right now. I know what he's thinking. They're pulling the belt's clearing the loops right now on this.
Basil Tootin's even doing it. The belt hit. It's not cleared the loops. It's been bound. It's been snapped. It's hitting ass.
Yeah. All right. So, Lindsay, Colorado at Arizona. I'm trying to build this game as much as I can. Colorado, every time I hop back on the primetime bus, they suck. So, I'm gonna ride it one more week. I'm getting on the bus one more time this week. Do they pull off the win in the desert? And this game happens, I think it's later in the evening, if I am correct on my
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
Yeah.
So,
afternoon game.
Bless your heart for your optimism. I don't share it, unfortunately. I think Colorado's going to go 2 losses in a row on this one, and they're going to lose probably by a touchdown. And I hope and suspect that this next loss for Colorado will start to bring them down to earth. The hype will die down. They need to concentrate on football in elemental ways that they haven't yet before. And I hope that this is the game to do that, because they're feeling pretty good going into it. They know it's going to be a close game, but I don't think it's going to be as close as they want it to be. So I'm going to take Arizona to cover that spread and win by a touchdown.
All right. We're waiting on Jude's pick to come in. Hunter, I think I know where you're gonna land on this one. I think, but you're gonna have an interesting take on it, though. Go ahead, let's hear it.
I like Lindsay's thought process a little bit, not necessarily Colorado coming down to earth, but I will go with the Buffaloes. You look at how teams beat Arizona, though, it's been through running the ball. Colorado's going to have to make a conscious effort to forcibly run the ball. I get that, you have Shedeur Sanders, who can hit a lot of passes, has a great escapability. And then you have Travis Hunter, Amari and Hampton, J.C. Horn. I mean, you have guys, not J.C. Horn. Maybe it's J.C. Horn. It's all over the field. Jimmy Horn Jr., that's what it is. J.C. Horn is a cornerback for the Carolina Panthers. That can make plays all the field, get open, especially when your line can protect. I think Arizona has a good pass rush, so they're going to definitely be active. And Dwayne Aquina is a great defensive back coach, the DC there at Arizona. Texas fans know that well. So I really think it's just going to come down which quarterback throws less interceptions. Shedeur is pretty safe with the football. I know if he's a little bit more careless. But it's going to be the Tetero McMillan, Travis Hunter show. I'm going to go with the Buffaloes. But I really think that Travis Hunter needs to not play defense. I know it's hard to take your best corner off the field, but his freshness deep into the fourth quarter will be the defining factor in this game of him being able to get open and make a game-winning catch to catch a touchdown. So I'm going to go with the Buffaloes.
Can we talk about the 6 degrees of separation between you and Dwayne Aquina? I bet people don't know this. Hunter, do you, by proxy, know Dwayne Aquina somehow?
I mean, in theory, I have met Dwayne Aquina. His son played quarterback at the same high school I attended at the same time. He was the JV quarterback while I was a freshman. Dwayne Aquina was at one of our practices and talked to all of us about football. It wasn't a particularly long conversation, obviously, because he had obligations to the University of Texas at the time. But he was just there to support his kid. So I got to meet Dwayne Aquina. But I have watched this product back, and I can appreciate great football and great football coaches.
See, 106 degrees of separation with Dwayne Aquina. Jude says Colorado gets back on track. I'm talking about a absolute shootout that's going to happen in this game. This is going to be a shootout in the high desert. Colorado is going to edge out Arizona, but I'm telling you right now, 800 total yards of offense between the two schools. 800 yards. Write it down. Mark it down. Bold proclamation. 800 yards.
That is bold.
Look, if I win, Lindsay, you got to come on next week and say, Cass, you were right. But if I lose, you got to say, anyway. Cass, stop picking games, Cass.
I agree, Cass. Back to you.
Back to you. Where's Christian at? We need to get Christian back on the show. I gotta have his email. I don't have his email anymore.
We need that kind of deep insight that only he brings to the broadcast.
Yep. I agree with you, Cass. Back to you. We need Christian back. Bring Christian back. That's what we need to do. We need to have some bring Christian back signs. Yep. All right. Well, he's probably playing football right now. He's a freshman in high school, so we'll see what happens. All right. In another game of why Cass picks games that we need. Jude just made a good point. Before we get to Virginia, Clemson, Jude made a great point. We need Joey back. Joey, I know you're out there watching because you send me Instagram messages all the time. Joey, we need you back. You have to come back. We got to talk about Sac State at some point. Sacramento State. Joey.
Hey, what about Sac State? The Pac-12.
Here, hold on. I'll throw out an echo. Joey.
Bocce on the show. Number one fan gets a spot.
Hey, I think Bocce needs to come on. We need to have a Bocce segment too.
You know, I do need another bocce ball because in my stupidity, I left it in Austin instead of my undisclosed location here.
Hey, you're on a recruiting trip. You'll be in a different city next week. All right, let's get this thing over with. Let's get moving. Number 7, Virginia at Clemson. This makes it because Virginia showed promise this year. They showed some drive, some determination. Lindsay thinks that Clemson's going to beat the brakes off of Virginia.
I don't think there's much of a doubt there. Clemson is far and away the runaway favorite going into this game, and everything we suspected will hold true. They're going to walk away with it early and hang on to the lead all throughout the second half of this game. They'll win by at least 3 touchdowns.
All right. Hunter, what are your thoughts on this game?
I was going to have this whole Dabo Sweeney, semi-Christian-esque thing built up in the only way that the Southern pastor that coaches Clemson football could say. Anyway, I'll go with the Tigers. They're gonna win by a lot of points. Tony Elliott got fired for a reason. I'm gonna roll with the Tigers. 42.
Jude saying Clemson in another BTA. Look, if we have many more BTA games in the ones to watch, y'all are gonna have to find somebody else to pick the ones to watch. I'm just saying. I'm going to pick Clemson in a close game. I think Clemson only wins by 11. Close game.
Wow.
All right. In our number 6 game of the week, Nebraska, Indiana. Jude has said Indiana by just a touch, a margin, a tiny margin. Lindsay's saying Indiana's going to take belt to ass to Nebraska. Yes or no? I don't know. I'm just making stuff up here. I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to help you. I'm going to say something. You're going to pick the opposite.
No, not this. I'm not a contrarian. Of course, by saying that, I kind of sound like a contrarian.
But you should be with my picks. You know what I mean? You should be like, oh, we're down to one watcher. Scott Vivaci, our only fan.
Hang in there,
Jude, come back. Maybe it's Jude. Maybe Bocce is like, I've had enough of you guys. I'm out of here. Is
Spence still with us?
No.
There's
only one person watching, Lindsay.
It could be me because I've got the stream going. I'm in another tab. It might be me.
You know, you shouldn't tell me things like that. I'm pretending like we have.
Bocce's still here.
And
maybe
Jude's
YouTube's wrong.
And Jude. All right, good. Woo.
Yeah. Now it says 0.
Oh.
Your YouTube analytics suck.
All right, Lindsay picked this game. I know we're talking about Nebraska at Indiana. The dog's name is Indiana. If anybody knows what movie I referenced,
Just make the damn
chat.
picks.
Indiana Jones reference. I'm going to pick Indiana to win by less than a touchdown. I don't think they cover the spread. This game's going to be closer than what we've been led to believe going in because Nebraska is going to have a stouter defense. They're going to hold Nebraska down, and I'm going to take the under.
All right, Hunter, Indiana truther. What would you say about this one?
Nebraska's like on a 20-plus game losing streak to AP top 25 teams. That streak doesn't end this week. I would stay on the Hoosier hype train. Kurt Signetti, he's going to smoke a Cornhusker here. They get it done. Indiana 28-21 Hoosiers.
Jude says 31-28 Indiana. I think Nebraska's going to make too many mistakes. They get turnover happy in games. They're going to have probably 3 turnovers in this game. I look for Indiana to capitalize on that. I would say the spread's going to be 31-21 Indiana. And that is our number 6 game of the week. Now we're to the top 5. The top 5 games. Number 5, the Fighting Irish and Notre Dame travel to Hotlanta to take on Georgia Tech, but they're not playing at Georgia Tech Stadium. They're playing at Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
No, they're playing in Athens this year, I think.
Athens is where the Bulldogs play. Georgia Tech plays at Atlanta.
Wow, I totally misread. Anyway,
You just
Same state.
submarined. I feel like we're on the what was that thing? Ocean Gate right now.
Heaven's Gate.
Well, they're both in the same place right now. That's all I can tell you.
Oh.
It's from the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. I do my homework, so you don't have to. There you go. You can get Chick-fil-A at this game. The Falcons can't get Chick-fil-A at their games, but you can get Chick-fil-A at this game. You know why? Because I said
Saturday.
Saturday. All right.
Enjoy a
Since
honey
you've already ruined my game, go ahead, Hunter. Tell me who wins this game.
Well, you can enjoy yourself a honey pepper potato cheese sandwich as the Notre Dame Fighting Irish beat the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. I'm going to go with 28-14 here. It's going to be a lot of running, but I like Riley Leonard has really started to figure out the offense. He's looked a lot better this last few weeks. I think Georgia Tech gets it done, or Notre Dame gets it done. Anyway.
Mr. Coyle.
No doubt Notre Dame takes this one handily. They're going to more than cover that spread. Georgia Tech isn't good against quality teams like Notre Dame is, but they're good with the lesser teams, and I would give them the edge in a lot of other games, but not this one. It's going to be Notre Dame all the way.
All right, I'm picking Notre Dame. I am the resident Notre Dame homer. Notre Dame's going to win 42-14. It will not be close. Notre Dame has looked really good the last couple of weeks. Notre Dame is going to BTA in this game to Georgia Tech. And how this got to the number 5 game, I don't know. It just did. Number 4. Jude's also saying Notre Dame 38-28 late TD makes it a 10-point game. I would say Notre Dame blows them out early and often. Number 4, the U, Miami at Louisville. Now, Lindsay, this is an ACC game. We got to go with the ACC guy to start with. Who do you have in this game?
I have Miami, but I'm gonna talk about them a little bit later when we go to the close because they should be ashamed of how poorly they're going to play against Louisville. They will win, but it's not going to be pretty. And Miami should go in and blow them out, but they won't.
Hunter, Lindsay's a contrarian. He thinks close game. Are you an optimist, or are you thinking blowout in this game?
You know, I thought that Louisville was going to be beat by the running quarterback again, but they kind of proved me wrong. It's really going to depend on Cam Ward's a turnover machine again, like he's been the last couple of weeks. I think he gets it figured out. I'm going to go with the Hurricanes. Call it 35-24 Canes. The defense shows up, plays well, stops the run enough. Cam Ward doesn't make a ton of mistakes. I'm going with Cam Ward and the Canes.
Oh, Jude's picking he's picking the Hillbillies here. Hillbillies make Miami a pretender. I'm gonna have to disagree. I'm going with the U. I'm saying Cam Ward makes a Heisman statement this week. He's gonna have to have one if he's gonna win it, and this is gonna be this week. I'm picking Miami by 17. Boom. And our number 3 game of the week, the Michigan Wolverines travel to Illinois. I promise you, you're going to see more touchdowns than you'll see pass attempts in this game. I'm kidding. But it's going to be a lot of running because both coaches run the football. They like running the football. I'm picking Michigan to win this game, but only by a point. It's going to be a 28-27 game. Michigan's going to convert touchdowns. Illinois will convert field goals. Lindsay, what do you think in this game?
We're going to see a rock'em sock'em back and forth on this with a lot of good defense, and there'll be some exciting long passes downfield to get big chunks of yardage to put the points on the board. Otherwise, it's going to be a grind, and I like games like that because it's going to be a test of perseverance for both teams. In the end, though, I think it will be Michigan, and I agree with you, it won't be by much. I don't know if they're going to cover that 3.5 point spread, so maybe by a field goal.
All right, Hunter.
I mean, there should be an over-under how long this game's going to take to play. I'm going to go with 2.5 hours because it's about 40 runs apiece. So I'm going to go with Michigan in a close game, 17-14 Wolverines.
Jude is taking Illinois 31-30.
Kevin Mullins has 2 touchdowns.
There you go. You heard it here first. Wide Right CFB, our number 2 game of the week. You like that? Like I threw the echo in there? That's right. Professional. No, not at all.
But it's not a game of the week, though.
Oh, once to watch. Damn it. I got caught looking at my own stats. We got Alabama traveling to Tennessee to take on the Volunteers. Lindsay, does Alabama finally lose a game that they're supposed to lose and not somehow miracle it out at the end? What did the cat think? The cat just ran by. Is that bad luck on a full moon?
He's been going back and forth. No, he's fine. He's going to go outside right now.
Okay.
Alabama should win this game, but I don't know if they will. I kind of like Tennessee going in. Look for the upset from the Volunteers, and they're going to spank Alabama and send them home in disgrace. I think they're going to win by a late touchdown, maybe even a late turnover. When it looked like Alabama might hold on to win, I'm going to look for Tennessee to pull something out of their hat on this one and come up with the upset.
Hunter.
Nico Imaleva's going to figure it out at some point. So,
yeah.
What?
I'm talking about this game. This game is like,
that's kind of what both teams' offenses have looked like at times.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The way to attack Tennessee is by running the ball, which Alabama doesn't do except for the quarterback run, which I think Tennessee will have an answer for, or at least a way to slow it down. I'm going with the Vols here. Call it 35-28 Volunteers.
Jude's taking Bama by 2 touchdowns. I'm taking Bama by 3 points. That's it. Bama's played way down. They're hot and cold, right? They're either really hot or they're really cold. And when they're really cold on both sides of the ball. When they're really hot, they're only really hot on one side of the ball. They don't create turnovers. They don't stop the run well. They don't run the ball for some reason. They really rely on the deep pass. I don't like teams that rely on the deep shot constantly because it's a real low percentage offense. And that's why Bama's allowed teams to beat them like Vanderbilt. And they've been in shootouts with Georgia. They've been in shootouts with Tennessee this week. It's going to be one of those deals because they're going to be a victim of not being able to control the pace of the game. And I think that's what we'll see this weekend. Jude is correct on this one. And for our number 1 ones to watch game of the week, the Georgia Bulldogs travel to Austin and what they call the greatest weekend in Austin. I don't know. It's the Texas two-step. Formula One's here. ACL was just here. Georgia, Texas is the day after tomorrow. Lindsay, does Georgia come in and push the Longhorns around, or do the Longhorns go out and win this game?
Georgia is going to flex some muscle here, but Texas will hold their own. It's a fun time to be living in Austin because people are talking about this game and they're excited for it to happen. And I like when there's that kind of buzz in the air. Ultimately, though, Texas will win. And I think they're going to cover that spread of 5 points. I'd look for them to pull it out by, 10 points or even 2 touchdowns.
All right, Hunter, hit us with some stats on Texas and Georgia.
I'm not going to. I just hope the Horns win. I don't like picking these games.
Hunter doesn't like. He's going to continue to not pick him. I'm waiting on Jude's pick. I'll say this: Texas has a surprisingly really good defense. A surprisingly really good defense. They are going to put a tremendous amount of pressure on Carson Beck. Georgia doesn't do. They don't run the ball either. I don't know why Georgia doesn't run the ball. Texas is going to run the ball at Georgia. Georgia doesn't stop the run either. So you've seen Georgia struggle with that. I'm definitely going to lean Texas on this one. I think Jude's going to lean Texas on this one, but he may not. He may take Georgia. You never know. But it should be a game to watch. Jude has said Georgia 27-21. Texas hasn't given up 27 points in the entire season, but we'll have to see what happens. And that is our ones to watch. We've hit the 2-minute warning. Now, I need Jude to get his 2-minute warning picks in here because I think they're going to be pretty good. So, 2-minute warning. We got contenders and pretenders. We got bold predictions, and we got the game of the week. Let's start with Lindsay. Who is your contender? What's your 2-minute? Just give me your whole 2-minute warning, Lindsay. Let's just
The whole 2-minute warning?
Let's mow through it.
All right. The contender this week is Michigan. They come in ranked number 24, and I like what they're going to bring to the table. It's going to be fun to see them duke it out and ultimately do pretty well for themselves. My pretender, though, and this might sound strange, is Miami. Even though they're favored to win and they're ranked number 6, I think they're going to have more trouble in this game than they bargained for, and I wouldn't be surprised if they struggle all game long. And I think that it's going to send them home with a few things to think about, regardless of the outcome of the game, because they're not as strong as they think, and they're going to get some flaws exposed. As far as my game of the week goes, this is going to be the Oregon and Purdue game. It's not going to be fun because it's going to be such a blowout. Purdue might as well just not show up for this one or sit on the sidelines and enjoy some concessions because Oregon has it all over them in every phase of this game, and it's not even going to be close. It's going to be so lopsided, it's really not going to be very fun to watch. As far as my bold predictions go, we're going to look at the TCU at Utah game. Somewhere in the more rural reaches of Utah is a small house with a pool in the backyard, and it's fenced in like it needs to be to keep the kids out, but there's a hole under the fence large enough for a rabid skunk to slip through. And this rabid skunk is going to stagger and get confused and fall into the pool where he drowns. Later that day, a storm is going to move through. It's going to be brief, but it's going to have some gusty winds. And it's going to blow a flower pot into the pool. The flower pot has fertilizer in it. And if you know anything about pools and fertilizer, you know that if fertilizer gets in a pool, you're going to get an algae bloom. And the algae bloom is going to turn the pool water into a dark, swamp-like green color. Now, you're wondering, why don't the owners just call their pool guy and have him come clean it out? Well, because they're on vacation. And that came to be when the wife and husband, who have been together now for many years, and their kids have long since grown up and moved out of the house, she was getting on his case about not taking any cool vacations. Why don't you take me on vacation? We never go anywhere. We always sit home in the house. He's like, God, just make it go. Why do you want to go on vacation? Jennifer's husband took her on a cruise last year, and you never took me on a cruise. He's like, fine. We'll go on a cruise if it would have shut you up. They go on the cruise, and he's thinking, it wouldn't be half bad if she banged some other dude while on the cruise just to get her out of my hair. I don't care what she does. But they've been married for a long time. She's let herself go. She's not attracted to anybody. She's not getting any side action. So she's getting more frustrated about it too. Meanwhile, the husband's kind of mad because he's going to have to live with it when they get home. That's why they can't clean out the pool. So the pool is festering with this dead rabid skunk and this horrible algae bloom, which is a bad combination because during the storm that blew through, it also blew down the fence of the dairy farm across the street where they have about 3,000 head of cows. And the cows eventually wander through the opening in their fence and then wander across the road to the house with the pool, where coincidentally a tree fell on the pool's fence and brought that down. So One of the cows wanders into the pool, falls in, drowns. The thing of it is, though, the water is so infected now between the dead rabbit, skunk, and the algae that it adversely affects the dead cow, where the cow now becomes undead, rises from the pool as a zombie cow, makes its way back across the road to the pasture where the other cows are, and in true zombie fashion starts to bite and eat the other cows, turning them in turn into zombie cows. After about a day or so, we now have 3,000 zombie cows that decide en masse to leave the farm and start rampaging their way through town, killing everything in their wake. They make it to the TCU Utah football game. They crash the gates, they run in, and it is absolute mayhem. You want to talk about a bloodbath? We've got one in this stadium. They start laying waste to everybody. Now, you're probably worried that we're going to have such a large and uncontrollable zombie apocalypse now because all the people are being turned into zombies. No, strangely, that's not the case, because wouldn't you know, as luck would have it, if a cow gets infected with a zombie-like virus, it can't transfer it to humans. The humans don't turn into zombies, but the cows do have their way with them, and they start killing people left and right. In an attempt to stave off the cow attack, the National Guard gets called in, and they have to formulate a quick and hasty plan. So they decide, what's good against cows? Let's bring in a bunch of lions. They're natural hunters. So they bring in a bunch of lions by helicopter, lower them onto the field where they're hoping now that the lions will attack and kill the cows. But miscalculation, guess what? The male lions don't hunt. It's the female lions that hunt. They didn't know this. So they got a bunch of male lions just roaming around where all these cows are. And the cows now start going after the lions, and the lions can't fight back. So in a show of absolute panic now, the National Guard takes out their rifles where they have laser scopes, and they start shining it on the cows to try to kill them. But the cows are immune to the bullets. But the lions are attracted to the laser dots. So they start chasing, like a bunch of house cats, start chasing the laser dots around. And the guys realize, we can get these lions out of here if we just lead them out with an erratic display of our laser lights on the field. So they do that, and the lions are following the laser lights out. So they get the lions mostly safe, but now they're still stuck with a zombie cow problem. But then they get the bright idea, if we bring in a natural predator like wolves, that should take care of it. All right, so they're able to coordinate with the Fish and Game Department to bring in a large pack of gray wolves into the stadium. Now, the wolves are actually very adept at taking care of this, and they very quickly start to kill all the zombie cows, who unfortunately have already killed everybody else, but we have to take care of this problem here and keep it contained. So they start knocking out the cows all the time, and they start consuming the cows. The problem is, there's a lot of meat on a cow, and a wolf isn't that big. So they're gorging themselves on cow meat. And they do take care of the cows, but now we have this issue where there's these overstuffed wolves laying around the field. They're in no mood to go anywhere because they're fat and happy. So the National Guard goes into the stadium very carefully, of course, because they're wild wolves, but they find that they're so docile right now because they're full. The wolves see the National Guard come in, they just kind of roll over and they give me a pet. So the National Guard guys decide, belly rubbings for the wolves. And then they, in an unbelievable turn of events, somehow domesticate all the wolves. But now they have a problem. What do they do with all these domesticated wolves that we have to find a home for? Well, luckily, this is being given some national coverage, and it's all been broadcast. So very quickly, people start signing up to adopt all the wolves to be family pets. And given the fact that everyone died in the stadium due to the cows, it is a rather happy ending because all the wolves find happy forever homes. That's my bold prediction.
Well, that's Lindsay's 22-minute warning. I think Hunter fell asleep or died from laughter. He was laughing too hard.
Or went to light himself on fire so he doesn't have to hear anymore of it.
I took a nap.
All right, Bocce said, I just want you guys to know this is the difference between someone from Massachusetts and someone from Rhode Island.
All right, I'll just jump into it. Contenders and pretenders. Contender. That's my train of thought.
Pick Oregon, please. Pick Oregon.
Contender, I'm going to go with Iowa State. They have proven that they are every match to be the best team in the Big 12. They took on West Virginia at night during a very emotionally charged game for West Virginia. Won the game. Pretender, I'm going to roll with pretender. Neil Brown's pretending to be a coach because after they lost to West Virginia, after West Virginia lost to Iowa State, instead of responding, talking about how the team needs to be better, he goes and says, "Well, did the fans have fun? Was it a good time?" Like, yeah, it was fun and a good time until the point your team stinking lost because you suck as a coach. You make terrible in-game decisions, Neil Braun. For bold proclamation, this goes back to the Oklahoma and South Carolina game. Jackson Arnold will come out in the second half as a quarterback for Oklahoma and lead the Sooners to a 21-point comeback. Well, they'll be down 14-7. They'll score 21 unanswered points, winning 28-14 there for the Sooners. I don't know. Am I missing anything?
Nope. No, game of the week.
Right. Oh, game of the week. Utah State, New Mexico. Now, on record, they're weak, but it's going to be a very exciting game. It's going to be the most exciting games of the week that you'll see. I'm going to go with 60-plus points we scored in that game, by the way.
All right. Jude is going contenders, Indiana and BYU. Pretenders, Miami and Oregon. His bold prediction is USC runs the table, and their fans complain that they are not in the playoff when they end up number 13 in the final playoff rankings. And he says his game of the week is Houston versus my other favorite team. That'd be my other. They're my second favorite team, Jude. The second behind everybody else. Kansas Jayhawks. And he's going to say that. And Lindsay, we do need to check your truck next week for an exhaust leak into the cab somehow.
Yeah, I can't count that out. She might be
All
right.
And then for my 2-minute warning, my contenders are, I went with Iowa State also. It's amazing we're not even in the same building, and I pick Iowa State. They're going to beat UCF handily this weekend. My pretenders are the number 8 LSU Tigers. They're going to lose. This part of my bold prediction. They're going to lose to Arkansas. Arkansas is going to blow them out in outstanding fashion. And I hate to bring this up in my game of the WEAK. Colorado State's going to be there for us. It's not going to be close. Well, it is going to be close because both those teams are not very good. And Air Force kind of got away with a mild bit of fudging the numbers. And that is the show. Minus one person, we still took longer than normal. I don't know how we did that. I don't know how we did that. And it wasn't Lindsay's 32-minute story either. I mean, we're only 55 minutes over, and Lindsay's story was the highlight of the show.
You know, strangely enough, my last week's bold prediction was almost completely true.
Yeah, third toe was almost an alien anal probe. The ending to that game felt like an alien anal probe.
That's what I'm saying, right? It was.
I just did something to the computer. I can no longer see comments. So, if you left a comment, we love you. We thank you. All right, y'all ready to wrap this thing up? Let me give some. Let me put some solo layouts here. Hunter.
All right, as always, go Navy, beat Charlotte, hook 'em horns, and eat 'em up cats.
All right, Lindsay Coyle.
Thank you for watching. We appreciate you, and we are happy to do this for you. So please keep tuning in. Give us a like and a subscribe and share it with your friends. And remember, you can't spell college football if you've attended this week's Utah game and get eaten by a zombie cow.
That's perfectly reasonable. All right. In the voice of Cool Jude Santa Cruz, good night to everyone. You can't spell S-E-C without S and C. Fight on. All right. Finally, I want to thank everybody for showing up. We had 11 people in here. It was an exciting show. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully next week, Cool Jude Santa Cruz is coming back. We have some special guests coming up here pretty soon, so stay tuned and be amazed. And Remember, the team that scores the most points always wins the game. Thanks for watching.